other example is that, BBC wanted to record some sessions in Pakistan, and they got in touch with my studio, my company. And when they came down, they brought their own engineer. And he's somebody who's worked with all these huge international acts. And he said, would you like to engineer first? I said, yes. And when I made the basic sort of mix for them to start recording, he didn't even have to touch it. He was like, it's so perfect. I think it's better than what I would have done in this situation. So I was very encouraged by that fact that, people who have years of experience and he was a much senior recording engineer and producer. And if somebody like that is saying that, I've done a better job than he would, is very encouraging. So I think anybody who has the passion can acquire the skill set. It's not like you really have to go to a school to learn this stuff. So that is a very, I don't want to boast about my abilities, but I'm just trying to give you an example of how you can acquire the skill set and you can actually become good at stuff. And today, I think knowledge is so easily available, like with resources like YouTube and online education. There's so much to learn. If somebody is really passionate about doing something or pursuing something, you can learn off the internet and do stuff. So I think now it's not a time where you actually have to go to a school to learn stuff, to acquire skills. That is my belief, and that is what I think is what people passionate about pursuing this kind of a career should do.
So I think amazing, and absolutely what I think I understand is putting in the hours, putting in the time, and if you're passionate and dedicated about something, so I think that's what probably you're saying. The other thing, which is just a follow-up question,
I want to just cut you off, like Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hour theory.
Yes.
So you put in the hours and you'll acquire the skill. So
you acquire the skill. But tell us something about Kaushan, and especially now with social media, criticism, especially when you're attached to creative work, the criticism bhi kafi aata hai, right? Some people like what you do and some people don't like what you produce. So how do you, as a person, I like to understand from your own stamina, your own mental resilience, how do you build up that muscle and how do you apply?
I'll tell you one thing, which is very important. As an artist, as a creator, you have to understand something, that not everybody will like your art or your creativity or whatever you create. Because, this is such a subjective sort of, thing with music I always tell people there's no such thing as bad music or bad film or bad art, because everybody is striving to create, something good. It's just that it's not appealing to you because you don't have that kind of a taste, or you don't have that kind of, appreciation for the, that art that you're sort of listening to or viewing. So you have to, as a creator, you have to understand that you can't please everybody. But even if you're able to please some people, that's an achievement.
Absolutely. Very quickly, because we were going to talk a little bit about skill sets and stuff, but you've already spoken about what skill sets people need and stuff. I think really the question now is, I remember growing up, there used to be like bands, and there used to be, live bands, bahut hoti thi Pakistan mein, Karachi mein bahut hoti thi, clubs mein hote the, and 80% of those bands were dominated by Christians, the Christian community. And they were so talented, from drumming to singing to guitaring, everything, right? I know you've spoken about how you need to be passionate and be in it, and you can't formally learn anything, but really from a Pakistan point of view, what can we do as a country much more to hone these talents and nurture these talents at a much earlier age than actually waiting for somebody to learn the hard way or learn after 20, 25 years, is what I'm saying. So what should we be doing as a nation really to nurture this talent? I don't think we're doing enough.
It's never enough. Arts and culture in an environment like ours, where we have, issues of people, people having survival issues. So art cannot thrive in an environment where we have, basic issues. Right now, we're a country where there's a lack of infrastructure. There's a lack of, so many basic necessities that people's focus on art and culture is not like a priority. So I always tell people that, in an environment like ours, art can, it's very difficult for art to survive and thrive, art and culture. So what we need to do as a community is to actually, if somebody has a musical talent, if your kid has a musical talent, you should actually send him to a music school, whatever level of school you can send him to, or your child to. You should do that, and you should encourage the talent. And what most people do is that they discourage their children. They're like, this is not a career. Don't pursue it. Don't go for this. You're not going to make money.
When you wanted to do this, how did your parents react?
So my parents, I'll tell you what. So I was speaking to Fariha the other day, and I was like, my mother wouldn't let me pursue this career unless I got I did my graduation. So I got my graduation degree, and she was like, okay, now you can sort of. And I was on the side. I was already working. I was like earning money on the side. I was doing sessions, getting paid for them, but that wasn't enough. She wanted me to sort of. She didn't think of it as my father also was, like, this is something you're doing on the side. It's okay, but it's not something that you can make a career out of. And when I started my studio and I started doing, these mainstream projects and these commercials, and they were completely surprised that this is actually a field, this is actually a line of work, because most people are not exposed to, this kind of a business or this kind of a sort of line of work. But then they realized that this is actually a profession. And it's not, just stuff people do for fun. So I would only say that you need to encourage talent around you. And as a community, if we can encourage people who are talented around us and, get them to go to schools, get them to learn from people, get them to go and do internships in studios, that's how we can actually help, the community, and we can actually ensure the survival and the progress of art and culture in Pakistan.
Fantastic.
So I have one question.
Towards the end of our show, go ahead.
Yes, and that's actually on the movie. So very briefly, tell us the story. When is it going to be released? Because there's COVID and cinema. So very quickly, because 2 minutes are left.
So if I tell you the story now, nobody's going to come to the cinema to watch.
Yeah, not the story. In 2 sentences, describe Karma. In 2 sentences, describe it.
Karma is a neo-noir crime thriller film. It has a lot of twists in the film. There's a lot of stuff happening. You will actually really love the movie because it's not your average Pakistani movie. It's not, stuff that you see every day. So you will actually agree with me when you see the film. That's all I can say for now. I don't want to reveal too much, but you've seen the trailer and you can already see that it's not your average Pakistani film.
Yeah, absolutely. The trailer is fantastic. I think when is it releasing? End of the year, Kashan? When is it releasing?
So we're in post-production right now, and we hope to release this by January. But obviously a lot of things have to align. So in terms of how the cinemas open up, because we're seeing a 4th wave right now of COVID. So if that all is, taken care of, and if everything goes smoothly, I think cinemas could be back in operation in the next few months. And then once the cinemas are back, then we can look into a final release date, which most likely would be end of the year or earlier next year.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Wish you all the best, Kashan.
So
thank you so much for being on our show. We're extremely excited about Karma. And guys, whoever's watching this, make sure you put that date in your calendar to go watch this movie. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible.